We're talking about how domestic violence rose globally during the pandemic. And I want to bring in Katie Ray Jones, CEO of the Domestic Violence Hotline. Katie, welcome back to the show.
Good to see you, Dr. O.
Good to see you. So tell us, what do you think about this new law in place?
Well, this new law that will provide training to hairstylists is so critical to survivors across the country, really, and hopefully we'll see more laws like this passed. I myself, as a domestic violence advocate, was sitting in a salon one day getting my own hair done and heard the woman in the chair next to me crying and talking about her relationship to her hairstylist. My own stylist knew what I did for a living, worked at the National Domestic Violence Hotline. We made eye contact in the mirror, and he said, "Do you want me to turn your chair around?" I said, "Absolutely." And I was there and able to validate her experience. And much like we heard Amy say, really be able to label what was happening to her as an abusive relationship and connect her to resources so she could get longer term support. We know that oftentimes, just like we heard Amy say, people don't see themselves in the relationship. They don't label it abusive or I'm in a domestic violence relationship. It doesn't prompt them to pick up the phone and call their local domestic violence program. They turn to family, friends, their hairstylist, someone in the church. So as much as we can be educating the general population, the general public about domestic violence, survivors will have more opportunities to break free from these relationships.
And Katie, how can victims safely leave these abusive relationships?
What's most important for all of us to realize, when someone makes that decision to leave, it is the most dangerous time in the relationship. We heard Amy say, even after she left, her partner continued to find her, harass her, abuse her. It's important that we think through all the ways we can help keep someone safe. And there's lots of tools in the toolbox, including, talking to your friends, having a safe place to go, but it needs to be very individualized. The survivor in the relationship knows their abusive partner the best. And we want them to talk with an expert about the risks and benefits of each option available to them.
All right, Katie, if we could, let's talk a little about the blame and shame that domestic violence victims go through. I mean, guess what? I mean, we can say it, that they are PTSD candidates. And, it's something you don't talk about. You think about the physical nature of the abuse and violence, but it goes much, much deeper than that. Can you touch on that?
Absolutely. I mean, you said so much of the complexity around relationships where there's violence, and it's not only physical. I think there's a huge misconception about domestic violence that people could spot an abusive partner if they saw them. And so many victims say, "I always said I would never let someone put their hands on me or treat me that way. And then I woke up one day and I was in this abusive relationship." The thing is, most of the time, people who are choosing to cause harm to someone they say that they love, they appear very charismatic to the general public. They're likable. And yet to this person, they treat them very differently. And they blame the victim for what's happening in the relationship. As a victim survivor, they experience that and they say, "It must be me. Like, he's so good to everyone else," or "she's wonderful around everyone else." And most of the contacts that come into the National Domestic Violence Hotline, they will say, "What do I need to do different to make this stop? How can I change?" And we're having a large conversation about, it's not you, it's them. And what is so tricky, and Amy talked about this, like some of the red flags is really quick involvement at the beginning of that relationship. She talked about her previous partner saying, "I love you" within the first month, and it was so great. That's how abusive relationships start. There is a lot of love and caring, and it doesn't start with physical violence. It starts with emotional abuse and isolation and some controlling behaviors before it gets to violence. So there's a lot of internalized blaming and shaming, and a lot of women will say, how did this happen to me? I let this happen. And they're not letting it happen. That person is choosing to cause harm, to coerce, to manipulate. And everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.